Hello, and welcome to another episode of Winning Where It Matters. My name is Kyei Amoako, and it's a pleasure to have you join me once again. There's a movie from 1998 starring Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson. It's a movie called The Negotiator. This is a movie where the Samuel L. Jackson character is a police negotiator, and he was, framed for some misdeeds, and so he, to protect himself, takes some people hostage and creates an intense hostage situation, and in the course of the hostage situation he asks for another hostage negotiator as the only person that he will speak with, and that's Kevin Spacey's character Chris Sabian. And in the course of the 2 hours or so of this movie, they obviously were on the other ends of outcomes that they were seeking. One was holding hostage people hostage, and the other one was supposed to talk him out of it so he could surrender. So definitely very high stakes, and there was a lot going on in there. But I bring this up. I bring up this movie and to share some of the lessons that I picked up from rewatching the movie, to share with us some practical things that we could bring into our daily lives as we negotiate. Because I've come to realize, and I'm pretty convinced, that life is full of negotiations. We negotiate a lot of things with other people and even with ourselves. But when it comes to negotiating with other people, there's so many, so many, so many. You talk about negotiating salaries, negotiating what time you're going to be at work, negotiating who's doing what, negotiating things with your spouse or people in your household. You're constantly negotiating. And I think the better we get at negotiating for win-win outcomes, the more cordial relationships we could have around us. And I think we could also definitely lower some of the temperature on the disagreements that come out of a lot of the negotiations that we're a part of. So I picked up three lessons from The Negotiator, featuring Samuel Jackson and Kevin Spacey, that I would like to share with you. And I hope you would be able to apply these in your situations where you have to negotiate. And hopefully, it helps you negotiate towards a win win outcome. So, the first lesson is to stay calm. Kevin Spacey's character and Samuel Jackson's character, they both stayed calm for the most part throughout the movie. Um, I remember when Kevin Spacey took the role, and well, Chris Sabian took the role, and he was negotiating and trying to talk to Danny Roman. The SWAT team and the other people tried to kill Danny Roman behind his back, and he got really pissed off. But when he came there to confront them, he did not lose his cool, even though he was very stern, and he talked his peace of mind to them and even gave them an ultimatum, as in, if you want me here, you have to do things the way I want them. He was intense, he was stern, but he did not lose his cool. Same with Danny Roman. The whole building was surrounded. He knew they were trying to kill him, but he stayed calm and cool, even reassured the people that he had taken hostage of. And even though, if every now and then he would get frustrated and he might even throw out some very colorful words, he stayed calm throughout it. And I think when you are thinking or acting like a negotiator, staying calm certainly makes a huge difference. And I think because they stayed calm, they were able to listen, they were able to hear, they were able to pick up on cues around them, and they were also able to hear what the other person was trying to communicate. And I think that staying calm and listening made it possible for them to establish rapport and realize that they were both negotiating with good intentions. Second lesson that I took away from the negotiator, which I think we can apply to our individual negotiations as we go through life, is to create options. And this is one where, for the untrained mind, for the non negotiators that we are, you would think if you're trying to get a hostage taker to give up the hostages, you try to close in with them and narrow their options. What Chris Sabian did, because he knew that the person that he was dealing with was knows how he thinks, because he's also a negotiator, he did something brilliant. He created options. He gave him more options to want to get out of the situation or to surrender. Because by if he did the other thing, where the opposite thing, where he boxed at him or tried to embarrass him publicly, he was definitely going to lose him. But by creating options and talking to him normally and showing respect and acknowledging um, Danny Roman's intelligence, he was creating options, making it possible for the hostage taker to consider other options, to consider doing something else, to consider giving up some hostages. So there was that back and forth where, to me, it was creating options so that somehow Danny Roman could give up some of his position or some of his leverage in the situation. Danny Roman, also being the skilled negotiator that he is, created options for himself. Instead of negotiating directly with the people that he believed were corrupt who have framed him, he asked for Chris Sabian, somebody whose professionalism he could trust. And by doing that, he gave himself a pretty wide option. He could deal with somebody who was going to treat him fairly, somebody who was going to give him options to navigate the situation, and hopefully give him enough room to gather information to clear his name. The third lesson picked up from the negotiator was they gave the process time. Not everything has to happen immediately. Sometimes the best ways to negotiate is to give the process time, because left to the SWAT team and the police officers who are trying to end this quickly, they just wanted to go in and kill, even if they kill some of the hostages, because they were so desperate to end the thing. But Chris Sabian, being the master negotiator, knew that, whoa, this is gonna have to take some time, because again, you got to talk the person into different options and hopefully get them to trust you first, establish rapport before you could get them to do big things like surrendering. And so he knew it was going to take time. He didn't want to endanger the hostages. And so he was going to give the process time. Danny Roman also knew he was going to have to give the process time by talking it out and not surrendering too early. Because I mean, he could have surrendered early because they asked him to surrender early, and he was like, no, 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 no. He needed the time to gather all the information that he needed to gather to clear his name. Now, with that being said, I want to call out the fact that they also didn't just let the hostage situation drag on endlessly. I think you want to give negotiations enough time, but you should also look for a path to a resolution. So stay calm, create options, and give the process time. I hope this is helpful. If there's any way that I could be of help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. As always, I believe in you, and I hope you believe in yourself too. I'll see you on the next one.